Slotted spoon and a wooden spoon. Hello everybody, welcome to Brown's Cooking Show. I'm gonna go dark for just a minute and invite some people. I hit the wrong button. There's the right button right there. Alright, hold on while I run through the list here and invite some people into the live. You have come to Brown's Cooking Show. Thank you very much for joining as I talk really slowly because I'm hitting invite on people to invite them to the show. And it's a concentration thing. All right, I'm back. Thank you very much. Hey, how's everybody doing today? All right, I see we have some viewers already on. Thank you very much. We have 5 viewers on already. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm Sean Brown. Welcome to Brown's Cooking Show. And today it's going to be a fairly quick show because we got a really quick recipe for you. I actually have some spinach and artichoke raviolis that are already pre-made and frozen. So they really don't take that long to heat up in the boiling water, about 4 or 5 minutes. And we're going to make a roasted garlic cream sauce with sun-dried tomatoes. So I'm just going to kind of turn the camera just a little bit so everybody can see. Thank you everybody for your support last week. We got to about 250 viewers last week. So thank you very much. Remember to like and share the video so we can get the word out about the show, get more viewers. Stay tuned because in a couple of weeks the YouTube channel is coming. So we'll start to do some longer recipes because we'll be able to do the video ahead of time and then splice it together and be able to do some different recipes. So today's recipe is actually, like I said, it's a roasted garlic cream sauce with sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm serving it. You can serve it over any pasta you want. I happen to be serving it over some spinach and artichoke raviolis that I have. So we're just going to turn our front burner on here. If I can get the gas to fire. It's always a trick. There it goes. All right, we're going to cook this on a medium-high heat. You can use any kind of skillet you want to for this. I don't prefer cast iron for this because you want the sauce. You don't want the sauce really in that cast iron. So we're actually just going to use a regular non-stick pan. We're going to use about 4 cups of butter down in the bottom. So we'll just let that melt. Get down in there. Let me run through a little bit of our ingredients here. It's a pretty simple recipe. Right over here we have our roasted garlic. And this is fresh roasted garlic that I had in the oven just a few minutes ago and roasted it off and then crushed it up with a fork. And we're going to put that in there. That's going to be the base of our sauce, that roasted garlic. And that is about a whole flower of garlic. So it's going to be a really garlicky sauce. Make sure that your partner is eating it with you because otherwise they won't want to kiss you because of your breath. And we're using butter. So we're using about 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter in there. We've got a 1.25 cups of heavy cream that we're going to put in there. And a half a cup of wine, and then about 3/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of sun-dried tomatoes, depending on what your taste is. So these noodles are not going to take very long, and the dish is not going to take very long by itself. So we're going to go ahead and just dump our noodles right in there. And I don't want to dump the whole packet in there because if I do, then I'll spew boiling water all over the place. Welcome to live TV, where you hear everything, good, bad, and the ugly. All right, so we're going to get that in there. Give that a little stir every once in a while. We're still waiting on that butter to melt up. We've got our wooden spoon over here. Stir it around in there. We want that butter to start boiling a little bit. All right, now that butter is boiled up and melted, we're actually going to dump in our roasted garlic. So, got all my roasted garlic here. It's about a whole flower of garlic. maybe a little bit less. I think we ended up with about 10 or 15 cloves in there. So we're just going to dump that down in the butter. We'll give that a minute, just stir it in there. And that's really going to flavor that butter, which is part of our sauce, so that's going to give us good flavor throughout. All right. Give that just a couple of minutes in there. Stir, just keep stirring it. You want to continuously stir this. This is going to be a dish that's going to go pretty quickly, but it's going to involve a lot of interaction from you as the cook. You're going to be moving it around and stirring, and that butter is really going to absorb the flavor of that garlic because of the way you have it in there. All right. It's already smelling good. Okay. So we want to give that about a minute in there just to kind of season up that garlic a little bit. Remember that garlic's already cooked because you roasted it off. Now if you've never roasted garlic yourself, you can do it a couple of different ways. This time what I did with the garlic is I actually took, I had already peeled cloves of garlic and just poured olive oil over them, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of Italian seasoning. And put them in the oven on 400 for about 15-20 minutes until they're nice and soft and starting to brown up a little bit. And then you can take them out. And the good thing about roasted garlic is you can do a bunch of it ahead of time and put it in the fridge so you have it for next time you need it. You can also do it as whole flowers. What you want to do is cut the top of the flour off and pour olive oil over the top of it. Roast that in the oven on about 400 for about 30 minutes, and then you can actually store it in the whole clove, and then you can just warm it up and squeeze it out, and it actually becomes kind of a paste coming out of there, so you actually end up with a garlic paste. Alright, so that butter and garlic is good to go. So now we're going to add in our half a cup of white wine. I have a Pinot Grigio that I'm using. And you're going to notice that that's going to start to boil as soon as it hits the water, as soon as it hits the pan, because we've got this pan pretty hot. So we're actually going to turn this down a little bit to about a medium heat because we don't want to burn this. But it's important that when you put the wine in there, you cook it a little bit before you put your cream in there with it, because you don't want to have that raw wine taste. You want to cook out that alcohol. You just want to have the flavor. So, we're going to let that cook just a minute. Our pasta is boiling like crazy over here, so we're just going to... And with raviolis, you'll notice because they have air in them, they will float up to the top. So it's important that you kind of push those raviolis back down in there and get them cooked. Now these are frozen, not dehydrated like your other noodles, so they won't take as long. About 4 or 5 minutes to cook these raviolis up. I had them before, they're really good. Like I said, they're spinach and artichoke stuffed raviolis. Really good. So you'll notice that the garlic, that the sauce we have here with the white wine is actually starting to get a little bit of brown in it. And that's because of the cooking the butter and because of the roasted garlic. The roasted garlic, the skin, the garlic gets a little bit of a brown to it because it's been roasting. So you end up with a little bit of brown. So this is going to be a little bit darker cream sauce. Okay, so that's done. So we're actually going to take our heavy cream and we're going to pour it right in there on top of it. And we're just going to mix that around. Don't worry about it if your sauce is a little bit brown. This is not supposed to be a totally white sauce. Because we're putting sun-dried tomatoes in it, it's not going to end up being a white sauce at the end anyway. It's going to end up being more of a brownish red sauce. But it has a cream base, so we actually do call it a cream sauce. Alright. So we just want to wait for that to come up to a boil right there for a minute. Alright, our pasta is almost done. There's about 1 more minute on this pasta and it'll be ready to go. We don't want to overcook this pasta because we're actually going to drop the pasta right into the cream sauce, which is actually going to cook it a little bit more. So you want to make sure you do not overdo your pasta. All right, our pasta is just about done. Our cream sauce is just starting to bubble. So we're going to go ahead and turn off the heat on our pasta. And we're going to go ahead and drain the pasta. Give this cream sauce another little stir here. All right. We're going to get the pasta drained. And this cream sauce is just starting to bubble up. We're going to turn that up just a little bit because I want it to bubble up good because we're getting ready to add our cheese to it. Let me tell you a little bit about the cheese that we're putting in here. You can do this with a lot of different cheeses. You could do this with straight Parmesan. I'm actually using a blended cheese. It has Romano cheese, Parmesan cheese, and Asiago cheese because I like the different flavors of the cheese in there. So we actually have that, and it's not shredded cheese, but it's actually just sliced cheese. And this is stuff, you can buy in the store. They sell it in packages, or you can grind it up yourself. For convenience today, I added this just off of what I had. So now that's starting to bubble up. You can see it's starting to bubble up. So we're going to slowly add in our cheese. We want to add it in. We're using about a cup, maybe a little bit more than a cup because I really like cheese. So we're going to add it in about a third at a time because you don't want to add it all in at one time because then it'll just all clump up on you. So just kind of sprinkle it in there around on the top. All right, get that to melt a little bit. That's melted in. We're going to add in another third of about a third of the little more than a cup we have. Let that just kind of melt in there. And this I really like using the 3 blends of cheese because you get the different flavors from all the different types of cheese. So we're just going to stir that in there. We're starting to see that sauce thicken up a little bit. Very good, looking good, looking good. Okay, so the last of our cheese is going to go in. Don't leave any behind. Cheese is too good to leave any of it behind. All right. Now, because we're adding our pasta in here, I actually add the pasta into the sauce so that we get a little bit of a absorption into the pasta rather than putting it over the top. If you're going to just ladle this over your pasta, then you might want to add in a little bit of heavy whipping cream, a little bit more heavy whipping cream, but you want to do it with your cornstarch. I'm not going to have to thicken this because the pasta, when I put it in there, is going to thicken this enough to go over it, so I'm not going to have to do that. But if you're doing this just to ladle over pasta or over chicken breasts or however you want to do it, this is a universal sauce that you can use for about anything. Then you're going to want to, I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off on that. Then you're going to want to use a little bit of cornstarch slurry, but instead of using water for your cornstarch slurry, use a little bit of heavy cream instead. It doesn't matter if it's water or heavy cream as long as it's cold. What you don't want to do is put cornstarch straight in here, because if you do put cornstarch in here, it's just going to clump up on you. So use your slurry, make it with your heavy cream, and then pour it in there, and that will thicken it up for you. Okay, so now we're right here at the end, so we're going to go ahead and add in our a little over a third of a cup of sun-dried tomatoes. And what those sun-dried tomatoes are going to do there is they're just going to add an extra layer of flavor into the dish. And you know, we always talk about when you're cooking things, you want to have layers of flavor in your dishes. And this is going to give you that extra layer of flavor. It's going to be kind of that little surprise you didn't know was going to be there. So just kind of get those sun-dried tomatoes broke up, mix them up in your sauce. All right, that's done. Now we're going to go ahead and pour our pasta in there. Right up on top of that sauce, just dump all that pasta in there. All right. Now we're going to use our slotted spoon we were using in the pasta and just kind of turn that around in there. Make sure you get good coating on all your pasta. And you can see that that sauce is starting to thicken up already just from that pasta going in there. So I didn't need to add any cornstarch to this because of the fact that I was actually pouring the pasta directly into the dish. So the starch off of that pasta is going to act as my thickening agent for this sauce. All right. There we go. That is looking fabulous. Smells really good. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of raw chopped Italian parsley and just sprinkle it over the top. And then give it one more stir. We don't want to stir it too much now. We don't want, but we're going to want to stir that parsley in there and get it on all the parts of it. Add that other layer of flavor in there. We always talk about adding layers of flavor. Make sure you layer your flavor in there. So you've got the sauce, you got the pasta, you've got the sun-dried tomatoes. Now you're adding that little bit of freshness in there from that parsley. All right, so we're going to grab our plating dish over here. Sorry, it was a little close to the camera. All right, and we're just going to scoop this up here on the plate. Make sure we get some of those sun-dried tomatoes in there. Kind of clean the plate up a little bit for good presentation. And that's it right there. Doesn't that look delicious? So we got the garlic, roasted garlic, cream sauce with sun-dried tomatoes, a little bit of fresh parsley in there on our spinach and artichoke raviolis. So thank you very much for watching the show today. It was a quick recipe. I like to do things that are kind of quick sometimes because I know that people are busy, you have families, you have jobs, you get home. The last thing you want to do is cook. You think, wow, it's so much easier if I can just pull something out of the freezer, pop it in the oven, and an hour later it's done. But this shows you that you can do a fresh-made dish. Yeah, I used frozen noodles. But you can do a fresh-made dish in less time than you could actually just pull a frozen dinner out of the freezer and put it in the oven. And you're eating a fresher, healthier dish for you. So, thank you everybody for joining us today. It was a short show, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please like and share the video. Remember, like or share or comment on the video, because if we get to 400 viewers this week on the video, so the next show will be on Thursday next week, if we get to 400 viewers on the show, we'll actually give away a prize next week to one lucky winner. But in order to get entered to win, you have to comment, like, or share the video. So please comment, like, and share the video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Look forward to the YouTube channel coming in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much. Have a good night and healthy eating.